Hi there and welcome to this video. Today I want to show you how to learn and understand the quite tricky intro to acdc's famous song Riff Raff without any trouble. For 5 decades now, acdc have been inspiring countless rock fans of multiple generations with their unique sound, which has often been copied but never really matched. I myself am a huge fan, especially of the first lineup with the legendary Bon Scott as lead singer. Scott is still, for me at least, one of the greatest frontmen of all time. Riff Raff is a fast and energetic rock song from acdc's 1978 album Power Rage. The song offers a whole range of very catchy and cool riffs, but the intro in particular is already quite tricky to understand. Alongside the standard 4/4 bars that both acdc and rock music in general are known for, we also have a couple of 2/4 and 3/4 bars mixed in, which can make learning this intro and nailing the timing quite difficult. Especially because on top of these quote-unquote cut-off or odd bars, we also don't start on the 1 but on the 4 end, and then we have to play constant 16th notes, which can make this whole thing quite challenging. If you haven't really studied rhythm in depth before, you might quickly get frustrated because there's also no drum accompaniment during the intro. That means it's best to fully understand the whole thing before attempting to play this thing with either the recording or completely on your own without making any mistakes. Alright, so let's jump straight into the intro. Before we do that, I just want to point out that, as always, there's also a detailed step-by-step guide you can download for free as a PDF by clicking the link in the video description or the first pinned comment. To make things easier to understand and faster to learn, I've not only created a complete tablature for the intro with numbered bars, but I've also programmed each individual bar with its accents into the hydrogen drum machine. If you've seen a couple of my videos before, you've noticed that I use this tool very often, not just for my YouTube videos, but also when I work with my students or when I collaborate with drummers and when I'm writing demo songs for my own albums or EPs. And you can also download the Hydrogen Drum Machine for free if you click on the link in the video description or the first pinned comment. Since in this case we need to program quite a lot of patterns, I definitely recommend downloading my step-by-step guide as well, because I've listed every single pattern in detail there, so it will be very easy for you to program it exactly like you can see here. Before we play the very first note, let's quickly go through it together. The entire intro is played over 28 bars, and the so-called quote-unquote cut-off 2/4 and 3/4 bars don't appear at regular intervals, but they seem a bit randomly placed. That's why it's very useful to program each bar separately for clarity and then add them one by one into the song mode grid so you don't lose track. The intro's tempo is a brisk 140 BPM, and with the combination of this video, the guide, the tab and the Hydrogen Drum Machine, you can practice it as slowly as you need. So now let's look at each bar both as tablature and as a hydrogen pattern. In bar number 1, set size to 8 and resolution to 16, so you have a 4/4 bar with 16th note accents, and then program the stick element twice on the 4 and the 16th note before the next one. As you can see, I've also deleted all the other elements. You can do this by right-clicking, selecting Clear and then Delete Instrument. That makes programming and navigation a bit easier. So it's just the stick element here now. In bar 2, simply leave out the first 16th note after beats 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here's bar 3, and we only have an accent on the 1 and the 16th note before beat 2 and on beat 2. Bar 4 is just like bar 1, and you can copy it with a right click and rename it as you wish. Bar 5 is just like bar 2, so you can copy that too and call it bar 5. Bar 6 only has an accent on the 1, and bar 7 is exactly the same, so you could also copy bar 6. And now in bar 8, we have our first quote-unquote cut-off bar, a 2/4 bar, where you have an accent on the 2 and on the last 16th note. To do this, simply set size to 4 instead of the usual 8. After that, you can copy bar number 2 and call it bar number 9. Bar 10 is just like bar 3. So you can copy that as well. Bar 11 is another 2/4 bar with accent on the 2 and the 16th note before beat 3, so you could also copy bar 8. Bar 12 is again like bar number 2. Bar number 13 is like bar 6 or 7. Bar number 14 is now a 3/4 bar, so set size to 6 and add accents on the 1, on the 3 and the final 16th note of beat 3. And now here I made things a little easier for myself and copied bar 2 again, but this time I called it bars 15, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25. So things go a bit faster and easier at the end, because at the end we'll be playing the same 2 bars over and over again. Which means I've also called the next bar with these accents here on the 1 and, the 16th note before the 2, the 4 and the 16th note before the next one. Bars 16, 18, 20, 22 and 24. This is bar number 26. And bars 27 and 28 are empty, which helps you let the last A chord ring out. And when we deal with the main riff in the next episode, you can add everything else at the end here if you like. So now we can actually start playing the intro on the guitar without having to wrestle too much with the already complicated rhythm. The only thing we need to remember now is that we usually start playing on the 4 and, so we'll cut the tempo of 140 BPM down to a very slow 70 BPM, exactly half, and take a look at the first 3 bars now. First, place your index finger on the 4th fret of the D string on the note F sharp, and your pinky finger on the 7th fret of the G string on the note D. What we're basically doing here the whole time is moving from a D major triad with the note A in the bass to a D sus4 chord, and then we just keep switching back and forth. Later a few simple A power chords will also be added, but that's basically everything we're playing here. The tricky part is really the rhythm, not the choice of notes or the technique we use to play them. So now before we play the first 3 bars along with the hydrogen drum machine, we'll do it freely first. It's best to count 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, and then play the first 3 accents of the tablature, the 4 and, the last 16th note before the 1, and the 1. So it's 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. This way, if you've never done it before, you can slowly get used to these pickups, which are very important for being able to master the whole intro with all its quirks. So now let's play bar number 2 all the way through, switching between the D major and D sus4 triads, and then go into bar 3 playing the 1, the 8th note after it, the 16th note before B2 and B2, counting along very slowly. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. If you now turn on the hydrogen drum machine, set the tempo to 70. Also make sure to turn on the metronome by clicking this blue icon up here, and then change from pattern to song mode and play along with the first 3 bars. If you've practiced this with hydrogen for a while, you really shouldn't have any trouble playing all the following accents as well. Sure, the quote-unquote cutoff bars make it pretty tricky sometimes, but if you practice slowly enough, go back to the start whenever you make a mistake, and learn to count along with what you play, you'll be able to master the intro very quickly. I'll now play the whole intro for you at 70 BPM, showing the hydrogen drum machine and tablature on screen at the same time. If you got it down, then sit down with the hydrogen drum machine yourself and increase the tempo in steps of 10 until you eventually reach 140 BPM. I'll also play it for you at that speed now, so you can later do it together with me. That's it for this video. In the next video we'll deal with the main riff and the other parts, which are also quite challenging, but with this strategy shouldn't be a problem at all. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment too, including things you'd like me to cover in the future. And please also subscribe to the channel, and then I'll see you in the next video. Bye!